The line for nowhere. A no exit sign original. Michael stood in the line because he always had. He did not remember how it started. Maybe there had been an invitation. Maybe there had been an instruction. Or maybe it was something inherited, like eye color or national debt. Regardless, here he was. The line was quiet. Not silent, but quiet in the way that offices are quiet, or churches after the last hymn is over, and no one is sure whether to leave or stay seated. The line did not move. That was the only rule. Everyone in the line knew it, though no one remembered being told. Behind Michael stood Constance. She wore a pale beige skirt suit that had never wrinkled, not once in the indefinite span of her waiting. She held a handbag tightly, her knuckles gray-white. Her hands had begun to change. The skin was flattening, stretching at the joints. When she flexed her fingers, they made a sound like thin cardboard. They were somewhere indoors. That much was certain. The ceiling was high, covered in panels. Some of them flickered. Some had gone dark. Michael once tried counting the panels, but he lost track at 248 or 249. Numbers were slippery here. A loudspeaker hung from the ceiling. Occasionally it lit up. When it did, the line stiffened in anticipation. The speaker would crackle faintly and emit a phrase like, "Please remain aligned," or "Thank you for your understanding." Once it said, "You are being reviewed." That was the only time Constance's eyes widened. Michael held a bicycle. He didn't ride it. There were no pedals. The tires were deflated and flat, like old certificates. The frame had no rust but looked tired. When he was younger, maybe in the world before lines, he rode bikes with purpose. Now he simply pushed this one forward by inches, out of habit. Michael and Constance did not speak often. They used to. But something had happened. Not an argument, not a decision, just a slow erosion of need. Now they communicated in short exchanges. Michael would say, "I think we're facing the wrong direction," and Constance would reply, "They would have corrected us by now." Michael would ask, "Do you think we're moving?" And Constance would answer, "We are holding still. That's the proper way to move." Sometimes new people joined the line. Not often, and when they did, no one acknowledged them. They simply appeared, fully formed, expressionless, already adapted to the rules. The line absorbed them like sand absorbing drops of water. No ripples, no reaction. Michael began to keep a list in his mind of the strange things he remembered. He remembered the concept of waiting rooms. He remembered receipts. He remembered the smell of lavender hand soap. Each memory felt illegal, like smuggling color into a grayscale world. Once, a man 3 spots ahead collapsed. No one helped him up. A small drone appeared from the ceiling, hovered silently, and then carried him away. The line closed its gap. The man was forgotten before the drone reached the edge of vision. Michael wanted to ask Constance if she remembered trees, but she had turned completely. Her hands were now envelopes. Her voice had grown softer, more mechanical. Once he thought he heard her reciting appointment times. Her handbag began pulsing faintly, like a beeper from an era long buried. One day the speaker said, "Advance." No one moved. It said it again, "Advance." Still the line held. Michael wondered if the word meant something different now. The speaker eventually sighed into silence. In the distance something clicked. A light turned green. But the floor did not shift. The people did not walk. The line was the destination. And they had arrived. The end. This is the room. There is no exit.